I said in moving, and as many members did observe during debate on this bill, this is the second attempt on the additional county allocations bill after the failed attempt to pass this legislation in the last session of 2024. Honorable Speaker, as many members did allude to, the RMLF funds that were in the bill are not in this published bill. Honorable Speaker, for very good reasons, and that's why we are pleading on the Senate and the Council of Governors to see the logic in allowing this bill to progress as it is, so that our county governments are able to access the tens of billions of additional money that is going to our county governments and to offer services, especially in critical areas like water and sanitation, healthcare, and even to an extent in urban development, especially in the area of sewerage and road infrastructure. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, mine is just to improve on them. I have seen attempts already to try and water down this bill by having another one published in the Senate, Honorable Speaker. But I would really urge them, since this is a money bill, to allow this one to progress into the Senate and allow governors to access money that will help our constituents and the area ward representatives. Honorable Speaker, I was shocked yesterday, or the day before, I was watching a clip on social media where an MCA, I think from Honorable Mburu Kahangara's constituency in Lari, is shedding tears in front of the governor, pleading for resources to be allocated to her ward to at least maintain roads that are impassable. And she was shedding tears, pleading with the governor that they cannot even transport bodies when there's a funeral in the ward because of the state of roads. And this is the dire state of roads, not in Kiambu County, but across the country. And I know a few governors may want the world to believe. And in fact, I was told the governor of Kiambu was alleging that it's the National Assembly that is holding 10 billion shillings for road maintenance, which is very far from the truth. It is the Council of Governors, through the case that is bound to be determined tomorrow on the 12th of March, that has held to 10 billion shillings that should be helping the Kenya Rural Roads Authority to rehabilitate roads. And KERA does also assist governors when they maintain some of the roads in the rural areas, some of which may definitely be the burden of those governors to maintain them. But because KERA is there, it helps. And I know the other notion, Honorable Speaker, that they have attempted to drive is that these funds are going to members of parliament. Again, far from the truth. Members of parliament do not manage any of these funds. They go to the regional offices of KERA and KURA, and that is where they manage the resources. That is where they do the procurement from. And it is KERA and KURA engineers who superintend over the construction and maintenance of those roads in our constituencies, in wards, and of course in counties, Honorable Speaker. Therefore, even as we sympathize with these MCAs who have had to shed tears on behalf of the people they represent, we must plead with the Council of Governors to allow the nation to move forward on this matter of additional county allocations. Honorable Speaker, many urban areas, and I have seen a number of adverts done by KURA in maintenance of roads in Nairobi, but in many urban areas, they were benefiting immensely from KUSIP and KISIP funds. All these funds are in this bill. Many counties are benefiting from healthcare funds, even with the loss of the global funds from USAID and other donors. There is additional money from other donors in grants. Some not even loans, some are grants, but which counties cannot access because this bill has not become an act of parliament. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I really want to plead with our colleagues in the Senate, when this bill is transmitted to them, to hasten its processing and allow governors to access this money so that they may help our constituents. And with that, I beg to reply.
Take your seat, Honorable Member. Honorable members, I now put the question at order number 10, which is that County Government's Additional Allocations Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2025, be now read a second time. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the additional allocations to county governments for the financial year 2024-2025, the responsibilities of national government and county governments pursuant to such allocation and for connected purposes.
Thank you. Take your seat for a minute. Honorable members, I've been requested by the member for Nambale that I acknowledge the group from his constituency before they came to the public gallery. And this is Young Aspiring Leaders Association from Nambale, Busia. I give you 1 minute to acknowledge their presence.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to welcome the young aspiring leaders from Nambale constituency in this August House. Mr. Speaker, this is a group of young people who have decided to come together with a common goal of aspiring on how to offer leadership in future. As they say, Mr. Speaker, youth are the future leaders and drivers of innovation expected to drive economic growth of a nation. And if they don't move closer to other leaders so that they can learn how leadership is carried out, they may not understand the difficulties and duty that are expected to be performed as a leader. And Mr. Speaker, I wish to commend this particular group of young aspiring leaders because last year in December, they participated in organizing sports activities within Nambale constituency and also encouraged the other youths by advocating against drug use and also did community work. So Mr. Speaker, and the fellow members, allow me to welcome them in this particular parliament and encourage them to ensure that they always think creatively and develop solutions that can drive progress in various fields. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, at order number 11, Majority Leader, I'm advised that the schedule to order number 11 is very long and is still being prepared. And on that score, if it is agreeable with you, we go to order number 12. And when we are ready with the schedules, then we go back to order number 11. Is that okay? Does that sit well with you, Majority Leader?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, so long as soon as the clerk's table is able to share the schedules, but I was thinking probably they should have just published them on the gadgets and we access them from there.
Can you post them on the...
You just post them on the gadget.
These are time-bound legislations.
Yes.
So call out order number 11.
Order number 11, motion, consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-2025.
Chairman Liaison Committee, David Speaker. We're at order number 11.
Apologies, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House adopts the report of the Liaison Committee on its consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-2025 laid on the table of this House on Wednesday, 12th March 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, and Standing Order 239 and Standing Order 239. That 1, approve the supplementary estimates 2 for the financial year 2024-2025 as indicated in the schedules to the report. And 2, resolves that the schedules form the basis for the introduction of the Supplementary Appropriations Bill 2025. And 3, orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, which is consideration of supplementary estimates in the Committee of Supply. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Who is seconding? Who is seconding you? Go on record. Give her the mic. Hold on, because
And Honorable Speaker, I call upon Honorable Pukose, who's a member of the committee, to second.
Honorable Speaker, I second.
Honorable Ruku, take your seat. Donya, don't get an accident. Take your seat. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order number 11, which is that this House adopts the report of the Liaison Committee on its consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-25, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 12th March 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution, Section 39, of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Standing Order 239, 1, approves the supplementary estimates 2 for financial year 2024-25 as indicated in the schedules to the order paper. 2, resolves that the schedules form the basis for the introduction of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2025. And 3, orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, consideration of supplementary estimates in the Committee of Supply. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Oh my. I jumped the gun. The clerk tells me I should have allowed a debate. Yes, but why were you saying aye without? I'm sorry, I was proposing the question. Let me rewind. Sorry. No, you cannot praise that. I now propose the question and retract and remove from the Hansard the transaction immediately preceding this. That this House adopts the report of the Liaison Committee on its consideration of the second supplementary estimates for the financial year 2024-25 laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 12th March 2025, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution, Section 39 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and Standing Order 239, 1, approves the supplementary estimates 2 of financial year 2024-25 as indicated in the schedules to the report. 2, resolves that the schedules form the basis for the introduction of the Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2025. And 3, orders that the Speaker do now leave the chair, and I suspect that's what made me put the question, to facilitate the consideration of the said budget estimates with respect to each vote and program in the Committee of Supply as contemplated under Standing Order 240, consideration of supplementary estimates in the Committee of Supply. Yes, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, rise to support this motion on the second.
As majority leader speaks, I want to believe that those on the screen are queuing for this debate. If you are not, log out so that we follow the list on the screen. Yes, Makalimul, what's the point of order?
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether I'm right, but has even this report been moved and seconded before we debate it? Because I thought the committee should have moved the
It was
report.
moved by the Deputy Speaker, who is the chair of the Liaison Committee, and seconded by the Honorable Distinguished Member for Endebess.
This afternoon?
A few minutes ago.
Okay. Honorable Speaker.
I noticed you are busy reading something.
No. You know, the thing is, anyway, let me not question the moving and the seconding, but let me just continue.
What is the problem?
You know, Honorable Speaker, what I thought was such an important report, earlier you did indicate to us that even the schedule is not here. I thought the mover should have taken a bit of time to educate the House in terms of what are the highlights of this supplementary budget, what are the recommendations of the Liaison Committee, just as read the budget policy statement. Honorable Speaker, in the morning, we were debating the budget policy statement with very good moving and seconding, where the issues were highlighted and seconded. Now this one, that's why I'm saying I don't want to question the moving. But I thought for such an important report, it would have been important that we get the highlights in terms of what is changing, Honorable Speaker, in terms of total figures, and then we'll be able to
Honorable Makalimul, as far as the Speaker is concerned, motion has been moved and seconded. Get ready to debate it. Yes. Majority Leader, go ahead.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was saying, Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this motion for consideration of the second supplementary estimates for this financial year as ably moved by the Deputy Speaker and seconded by the Honorable Pokose. I know Honorable Makali Mulu, being an economist, would have wanted more details, but I believe he was also very busy reading the same report. That's why he did not hear the Deputy Speaker and Honorable Pokose move and second. But Honorable Speaker, this second supplementary comes in the backdrop of a period where the nation, as I said earlier when we were discussing the budget policy statement, our economy is stabilizing and increasingly becoming better than the position that we were in. True, Honorable Speaker, it comes in the backdrop of a situation where we found ourselves in with a loss of almost 6 months without a finance bill following the events of June last year and the eventual rejection of the finance bill. Honorable Speaker, many people may take it for granted that there was no impact on our budget process by the events of June 2024. But Kenyans across the country can bear witness that there was a real impact of the disruptions that came with the rejection of the finance bill in 2024. Many Kenyans around the country have been agitating for rehabilitation of roads that have had no money to rehabilitate. You have seen many actors in the labor movement, right from doctors, teachers, professionals in the teaching fraternity, those in our universities, agitating for implementation of collective bargaining agreements, which were supposed to be funded out of the monies or revenues that were to be raised by the finance bill of 2024. But, Honorable Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to thank the House and thank the many Kenyans who in October last year joined the Finance and National Planning Committee during public participation to reconsider many of the proposals that were there in the finance bill. And therefore, we may need to understand that this supplementary too comes in that backdrop of reduced revenues out of the events of June 2024, the belated mobilization of revenues because we did not have a finance bill to mobilize resources, as was expected by the 1st of July 2024. It wasn't until the end of December, because the bills that we passed on the 4th of December commenced to mobilize revenues from the 27th of December. And therefore, we have only mobilized resources for about 2 months, the whole of January and now February. This is only the 2.5 month when we have had the tax measures that we put mobilizing resources. And it is in the backdrop of that, Honorable Speaker, that the National Treasury has had to review the budget of the financial year 2024-2025 so that they're in tandem with the revenues and the reality of the time, because the revenues that were projected at the time we were doing the budget last year were projected with having in mind that we'd have a finance bill that would collect revenues from the 1st of July to the 30th of June this year. But as the case may be, we have only, as I said, been able to collect revenues from January to date. And therefore, you may have, we have now to review the revenue projections. And with the revision of revenue projections, we also have to review the expenditure projections, Honorable Speaker. And I'm glad the National Treasury has factored in all this in the revision of the expenditure and in an effort to continue with the fiscal consolidation that I was speaking about earlier in the morning, to ensure that we close this financial year with a supplementary budget that is as close to reality as possible, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the proposed reallocations and additional allocations that are contained in this report and the schedules that are being printed and which members will be able to access from the tablets shortly, part of the gainers, Honorable Speaker, is the security sector. And again, Honorable Speaker, is also worth noting that the National Police Service has been allocated an additional 7.5 billion, 5 billion of which is shortfalls in insurance costs, and 2.5 billion to support the Haiti peacekeeping mission, Honorable Speaker, and in addition, also other resources to ensure that we continue to secure our country. Honorable Speaker, you know, I heard many people recently fault the policy proposal to allow Kenyans from all corners of the country to be able to access ID cards fairly and in an equitable way without discrimination. And some of the resources you see here, Honorable Speaker, going to the National Intelligence Service is to ensure that security measures in the country are enhanced so that even as you issue out identity cards to Kenyans, we make sure that it is only Kenyans who are accessing our identity cards. Honorable Speaker, there has been also a problem of pending bills. And our economy has slowed down largely because many people, many business people across the country have bills that they delivered goods and services to the government, the national government and our county governments, and have not been paid. And part of the culprits has been the Ministry of Defense. And I can see, Honorable Speaker, in this supplementary budget, the Ministry of Defense has an additional 6 billion shillings, which is going towards settlement of pending bills. And I do hope that the Principal Secretary and the accounting officers in the Ministry of Defense will be able to settle, especially the small, micro and MSMEs who have delivered goods and services to the Ministry of Defense, many of who suffer and some are closing down their businesses because they are not being paid. And I want to plead with them to prioritize the small people before they go to the very big suppliers who may have a little bit more muscle with the banks. Honorable Speaker, as I said, we have had issues with collective bargaining agreements. With the Teacher Service Commission, you've had teachers complain about the health services that they are getting through the scheme that they have. And we have an additional 18 billion shillings that are going to the Teacher Service Commission, again to cater for insurance shortfalls, teacher promotion and personnel emoluments, shortfalls that were there at the TSC. And therefore, those teachers who are not able to be promoted because of budget shortfalls can now smile all the way to TSC as they seek their promotions. To Honorable Speaker, the State Department of University Education is a major beneficiary. You can see some 16 billion shillings going to the university education, to, among other things, 4.2 billion to implement the university's collective bargaining agreement, the CBA. As I said, you have seen UASU and other university dons even coming to petition Parliament at the gates of Parliament and demonstrating in town, agitating for implementation of the CBA agreements. Therefore, there is that 4.2 billion shillings to ensure that the State Department for University Education honors the CBA agreement that they entered into. There are also upward revisions that mostly relate to A&A. And Honorable Speaker, it's important to note because, again, many people have criticized the digitization of government services through e-citizen. If you skim through the schedules and the committee's report, you see a lot of revisions of A&A, appropriations in aid. And these to a total, my colleague is reminding me, almost 19 billion. These are resources that have not been factored in the budget, but are now realizable, and this has come out of the digitization of government services through e-citizen. And through this digitization, Honorable Speaker, many institutions of government, many agencies of government, ministries and departments are now able to get more resources in A&A. And this is the upward mobility, you say, of A&A in the State Department of Universities and others, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, again, in healthcare, Kenyatta National Hospital is getting additional resources. Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital, MTRH, and I don't want to get into the figures, and KEMSA, Honorable Speaker. And this again speaks to the need, Honorable Speaker, of ensuring that both our national referral hospitals are adequately resourced to be able to offer services to Kenyans when they need them, and especially under the Social Health Insurance Fund, or SHA. Honorable Speaker, there is an additional 3 billion shillings that is going for the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illnesses Fund, 1.5 billion shillings, stipend for healthcare professional interns, and 600 million for operationalizing the primary healthcare networks. Honorable Speaker, this speaks to a great extent to the issues that you remember during the members' retreat in Naivasha, when the Social Health Insurance Authority appeared before us in Naivasha, and you did ask the Committee on Health to sit and look into the issues that are bedeviling the implementation of SHA. Honorable Speaker, part of the issues and the challenges that were identified is the low funding that went into the Primary Healthcare Fund and the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illnesses Fund. Honorable Speaker, it's important for Kenyans to appreciate that the more members who enlist onto SHA and make contributions, the more efficient and effective SHA will become in terms of being able to cater for needs of their customers or needs of patients who walk into hospitals. For instance, Honorable Speaker, the Primary Healthcare Fund is meant to ensure that any Kenyan who is registered under SHA or Taifa Care, if they walk into a level 1, level 2, level 3 hospital, they see a doctor, they get a prescription, they get treated, and they go home without being asked for a coin. So long as that primary healthcare facility, whether it is a private healthcare facility or a public healthcare facility, is enlisted under the Social Health Authority. Honorable Speaker, it's sad that in some counties, and I think it was Trans Nzoia County that I was able to learn, many hospitals are not enlisted in the Social Health Authority. And therefore, anyone who walks into a public health facility in Trans Nzoia County, for instance, if that hospital is not enlisted by the county government in SHA, they will not get services by SHA. And that is why you hear a lot of negativity, people saying, including some of those governors claiming, oh, SHA is not working. It cannot work if the hospital is not enlisted in SHA. It will not work for you if you are not registered as a member and a paid-up member. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, the first bit of the universal health coverage, or the first pillar that we deliberated on when we passed these bills 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago, when we passed the 4 health laws, was to make sure that primary health care in the country becomes free of charge in the level 1, level 2, level 3 hospitals, Honorable Speaker. But the resourcing of those healthcare facilities must come from exchequer money, which is what now we are doing, giving them an additional 3 billion shillings, plus more resources that will come from members' subscriptions or member premiums for those who enlist. And therefore, I want to use this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to encourage Kenyans to continue enlisting. Yesterday, I had an occasion to meet a good friend of mine, a reverend, who has been very critical of this program. But he told me in my office he had come to tell me that indeed this SHA is working, because his mom has had her bill catered for to the tune of 800,000 shillings at Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. And Honorable Speaker, this money that we are appropriating today, not just for the primary health care fund, but also for the chronic, critical, and emergencies fund. I had occasion of a border rider, Honorable Speaker, who registered for SHA, never paid up for his premiums, and got into an accident. And under the health laws that we passed for SHA, when you have a critical emergency, an accident, or chronic and critical illnesses, those should be catered for not by the primary health care fund, but the chronic emergency and critical illnesses fund. That is a fund that you see, again, we are giving another 3 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker, to ensure that if you are registered in SHA and you get into an accident, you get into a hospital, whether you be referred to Kenyatta National Hospital or to KU Teaching and Referral, MTRH, Kisii Referral Hospital, whichever hospital, whether it's level 4, level 5, level 6, you will get treated and your bills will be catered for by SHA. And Honorable Speaker, those are some of the things. Honorable Speaker, because I can see I'm running out of time, it's also important to mention the question of the use of Article 223 of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. And we have deliberated on this matter at length. I am happy to note, Honorable Speaker, as much as we have requests of almost 86 billion for use under Article 223. This is not unlike what was happening before when the National Treasury was spending money and coming for post facto approval. At least this time, Honorable Speaker, I note out of the 88 billion,